Egypt's Citizenship by Investment program. Is it really worth your investment? That's what we're going to find out today. Join me as we separate fact from fiction and talk about everything else in between in order to ultimately determine if it is the right fit for you. Hi, my name is Natalia Rincon, and I am a Research and Development Associate at Nomad Capitalist. In my 2 years working for Nomad Capitalist, I have helped our high net worth international clients implement their holistic plans. And as a Research and Development Associate, I have had the opportunity to take a look into many different programs of immigration, residence, and even tax that are available worldwide in order to always identify which are the best options out there. Egypt's Citizenship by Investment could be an attractive option if what you're looking for is a quicker path to citizenship or just overall to do business and be more connected in the Middle East. But what sorts of investments qualify you? We're going to go through each of them, starting out with the state treasury contribution. If you want to go through this option, you must donate $250,000 into the state treasury. And you can pay this amount straight away or in installments during a period of 1 year. But you will only qualify for citizenship after you complete the full amount. You will not get any return of your investment, and it is pretty much a donation that will get you citizenship. The second option is a bank deposit. Now, this doubles the amount, but could give you some perks. If you do this, you would have to deposit $500,000 into a government-approved bank. The good news is that after 3 years, you can get that deposit back. Keep in mind, though, that it will be only refunded in Egyptian pounds with no interest earned. Now, for the third option, you have the company investment. If you do a company investment, you would have to invest at least $350,000 into an existing Egyptian company. And additional to that, you will have to contribute another $100,000 to the Egyptian government. Now, some other things to keep in mind if you go through this option, though, is that you do not necessarily need to have an Egyptian partner, but you must be the owner or shareholder of at least 40% of this company. If you wish to sell your shares in the company, you can do so after 5 years. As for your fourth and last option, we have the real estate investment. And this is the option that I really want to focus in today. Many will tell you that you can only purchase real estate either from a developer or from a real estate that is government owned. But I am here to clear out this information. Actually, you can invest $300,000 in any approved real estate. What constitutes an approved real estate? Yes, you have your developer properties, you have your state-owned properties, but also privately owned properties can qualify if they are duly registered in a real estate register. What happens, or the reason why this is not so often talked about, is because there are some properties in Egypt that are not properly registered or don't have a certificate of title, or a blueprint title, as they call it. So what needs to happen is that the lawyer or the agent who is assisting you with the process needs to conduct proper due diligence in order to track down the origin of the property and make sure that it is traced back to the government. But this would account for almost 80% of the available privately owned properties in Egypt today. So there are plenty of options. Now, Egypt is building a new administrative capital, and any real estate in the new administrative capital qualifies. But you know what also qualifies? Residential properties, land plots, shops, commercial properties, apartments. There are many options to choose from. I do need to make a small disclaimer though. The registration of second-hand properties can be a little bit bureaucratic, and it can add up from 3 to 6 months to the overall time that it will take to complete the process. What your lawyer needs to check if you want to buy a second-hand property or a privately owned property is that it is duly registered and it is either under a blue contract or that the title deed can be traced back to an original government ownership. But it doesn't mean that you cannot buy it from a private owner as of today. Now, it is $300,000. But a good point to make here is that you can pay this amount upfront or in installments throughout a period of 1 year. Once the certificate of title is under your name, you can rent the property, you can lease it, and if you ever want to sell it, this is also possible after 5 years of obtaining your citizenship. One last final consideration, though, is that, as well as the bank deposit option, the purchase needs to be completed in Egyptian pounds, at least for the amount that qualifies you for citizenship by investment. So some private sellers may be hesitant as they want to get their money in US dollars. So something that you can propose is that you will pay them the amount that qualifies you for citizenship by investment in Egyptian pounds, and you're perfectly free to complete the rest of the amount in US dollars if the value of the property is higher. Now, at the beginning of this video, I mentioned that, we would talk about whether this was a worthy option for you to consider. So we're going to talk about some of the benefits that you can obtain from this program aside from a passport. First off, applicants of any nationality except maybe Israelis and Iranians can qualify. And you can apply as a main applicant provided that you're 18 years old or older. Furthermore, if you are someone who holds multiple citizenships, you do not need to disclose them all. And you have the option to make your application confidential. So if you're someone who values your privacy, this is definitely a perk. Last thing I want to mention is that there will be no knowledge test or Arabic language test performed, and you can qualify your children so long as they are below the age of 21 and unmarried. Military service is mandatory in Egypt. However, citizenship by investment applicants do not need to perform these sorts of military duties. You can apply for an exception given that you hold, most likely, a dual citizenship. We've already talked about the perks, but what are some of the challenges? First of all, as you have probably noticed, Egypt does value its local currency. So, you will most likely be subjected to opening a local bank account. And this isn't super easy to do, especially if you don't have a previous residence permit or ties to Egypt. And this is where having a reliable local partner comes in handy. Now, on a second note, the document legalization requirements that the Egypt government has can be a little bit tricky to fulfill. So, you want to work with somebody who thoroughly understands the program. As an additional note, common law partnerships and same-sex marriages do not qualify for citizenship by investment. As a final note, you do need to budget in for at least 2 visits during the application process. The first one being for opening the Egyptian bank account, and then the second one to fulfill some mandatory tests and procedures that the government requires. From selecting the property to navigating all of these administrative and due diligence processes, we at Nomad Capitalist help our clients make the process as simple and seamless as possible. So if this is a program that interests you, or you just want to create your Plan B strategy, sign up to become our Nomad Capitalist client today and let us help you go where you're treated best.